The sky above Seoul burned orange and red. Admiral Park Tae-ho stood on the bridge of the orbital station Sejong and watched his world die. 3 cities were already gone: Tokyo, London, New York. Millions of people turned to ash in seconds. The alien ships hung in space like metal mountains. There were hundreds of them. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. They came from a place called the Valorian Dominion, and they had conquered 400 worlds before finding Earth. "Sir, they are sending another message," said a young officer. His voice was shaking. Tae-ho nodded slowly. "Play it?" The alien voice filled the bridge. It was cold and sharp, like metal scraping against stone. "People of Earth, you have seen our power. 3 of your cities are gone. We will destroy 3 more every hour until you surrender. There is no hope. There is no escape. Submit, and some of you will live as servants. Resist, and you will all die." The message ended. The bridge was silent. Tae-ho looked at the faces of his crew. They were young. Most of them had joined the Space Defense Force, hoping to explore the stars. Now they were watching the end of everything they loved. "Sir, what do we do?" the young officer asked. Tae-ho did not answer. He was thinking about his daughter and Bizen. She was 12 years old. He had promised to take her fishing next month. Now he wondered if she would live to see tomorrow. Far below, on the streets of Seoul, Sergeant Lee Seung was leading a group of survivors into the subway tunnels. The alien ground troops had landed an hour ago. They were tall creatures with gray skin and 4 arms. They carried weapons that turned people into dust. "Move faster," Seung shouted. "Keep moving." A woman was crying, holding a small child. An old man was limping, his leg bleeding. Seung grabbed the old man and helped him walk. Behind them, the sound of alien weapons grew closer. They reached the tunnel entrance, just as an alien soldier appeared at the end of the street. Seung pushed everyone inside and turned to face the creature. It was 3 meters tall. Its eyes were black and empty. The alien raised its weapon. Seung raised his rifle. He knew his bullets would do nothing. He had seen others try. But he would not run. He would not let this thing take his people without a fight. Then something strange happened. A bright light flashed from the sky, and the alien soldier fell. Its body sparked and smoked. Seung did not understand, but he did not wait to find out. He ran into the tunnel. In the city of Busan, Dr. Kim Yuna sat in an underground laboratory. She was surrounded by screens and machines. Her hands were shaking as she read the message on her computer. "Activate Ember. Authorization unanimous." Unanimous. That meant every world leader had agreed. That meant there was no other choice. Yuna closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She had spent 20 years building Project Ember. She had hoped it would never be used. She opened her eyes and typed in the activation code. Thousands of miles above Earth, hidden among the floating garbage and dead satellites, small machines came to life. They looked like space junk. They had been designed to look like space junk. But they were weapons. Weapons that had been waiting for this moment. On the Sejong, Tae-ho received a message from Earth Command. His eyes went wide as he read it. "Sir?" the young officer asked. Tae-ho smiled. It was a cold smile, the kind that made people afraid. "Open a channel to the alien flagship." "Sir, they will not listen to us." They said, "Open the channel." The officer obeyed. A few seconds later, the alien commander appeared on screen. His name was Reth, and he had destroyed 20 civilizations. He looked at Tae-ho with amusement. "A human wants to speak," Reth said. "How interesting. Have you come to surrender?" Tae-ho stood straight. His voice was calm and steady. "No, I have come to give you a warning." Reth laughed. The sound was ugly and harsh. "A warning?" Your cities are burning. Your weapons cannot hurt us. What warning could you possibly give? Tejo leaned forward. You should never have touched Earth. Reth stopped laughing. Something in the human's eyes made him uncomfortable. What do you mean? You think we are weak, Tejo said. You think we are primitive. You look at our small ships and our simple weapons, and you think we are easy prey. He paused. You are wrong. At that moment, the Ember Array fired. A wave of invisible energy swept across the alien fleet. Every ship shuddered. Lights flickered. Shields that had never failed suddenly went dark. On the alien flagship, alarms screamed. Officers ran in panic. Reth stared at his screens in disbelief. What is happening? Our shields are down. All shields are down. Tejo's voice came through the speakers, calm as death. For 50 years, we have watched you. We have studied you. We have learned every weakness in your technology. And we have been waiting. From the dark side of the moon, ships began to rise. From hidden bases in the asteroid belt, more ships emerged. From secret stations on Mars, weapons powered up. 200 warships, built in silence and secrecy, moved toward Earth. Reth watched his screens fill with human ships. His face went pale. This is impossible. Our scouts found nothing. Our sensors detected nothing. Your scouts found what we wanted them to find, Tejo said. Your sensors saw what we allowed them to see. You thought you were hunting us. But we were hunting you. The first human missiles hit the alien fleet. Without shields, the great metal mountains began to crack and burn. Alien ships that had conquered empires exploded like paper and fire. On the ground, Soong watched the sky light up with explosions. The survivors around him looked up in wonder. The old man grabbed his arm. What is happening? The old man asked. Sung watched an alien carrier break apart and fall like a dying star. He felt tears in his eyes. We are fighting back. In her laboratory, Yuna watched the battle through satellite feeds. Her hands had stopped shaking. She had built the weapon that started this. Now she would help finish it. Above Earth, Tejo stood on his bridge and watched the alien fleet burn. This was only the beginning. There were 10,000 more ships in the Dominion. But tonight, humanity had shown the galaxy something important. They were not prey. They were not victims. They were something the universe had never seen before, and they were very, very angry. 3 weeks had passed since the burning sky. The alien invasion force was broken. Thousands of enemy soldiers were now prisoners. Their great warships floated in pieces around Earth. But the war was not over. It had only begun. Director Choi Hana stood in the war room, deep beneath the mountains of Korea. Around her sat the leaders of every nation. They were tired and scared, but they were also alive. Thanks to a secret that had been kept for 50 years. It is time to tell the world the truth, Hana said. The truth was simple and terrifying. Humans had discovered faster than light travel in 2137. They had found alien life shortly after. But instead of announcing it to the world, they had stayed silent. They had watched. They had learned. They had seen the Valorian Dominion conquer world after world. They had watched peaceful civilizations become slaves. They had studied every battle, every weapon, every weakness. And they had built in secret, waiting for the day the Dominion would come for Earth. That day had come. And humanity was ready. In the asteroid belt, pilot Beak Jiho climbed into his fighter. It was called a Ghost, a small ship designed to move through enemy shields like smoke through fingers. Jiho had trained for 5 years in secret. He had never told anyone, not even his family. Now he would finally fly into real battle. All pilots, this is command, a voice said in his helmet. The enemy has called for reinforcements. A Valorian carrier group is approaching from the outer system. Your mission is simple. Do not let a single ship reach Earth. Jiho smiled and started his engines. Understood. Let us show them what humans can do. On Earth, Sergeant Lee Seung walked through a camp full of alien prisoners. The Valorians looked different up close. They were not monsters. They were soldiers, just like him. Some of them looked scared. Some looked angry. Most just looked confused. You fight strangely, one prisoner said to him. The alien's name was something Seung could not pronounce. We killed many of you, but you kept coming. Why? Seung thought about the question. He thought about his friends who had died in the streets of Seoul. He thought about the children he had carried into the tunnels. He thought about his mother, who was still missing. Because we have no choice, Seung said. This is our home. Our only home. We cannot run. We cannot hide. We can only fight. The alien looked at him for a long time. We have conquered 400 worlds. No species has ever fought like you. Most surrender after we destroy one city. You lost 3, and you only became angrier. That is because you do not understand us, Seung said. When you hurt us, we do not become weak. We become dangerous. In space, Jiho and his squadron met the enemy carrier group. There were 30 Valorian ships, each one carrying hundreds of fighters. Against them, there were only 50 human ghosts. The numbers did not matter. Jiho flew straight at the enemy flagship. His ship passed through the shields like they were not there. The Valorians had never seen anything like it. Their weapons could not lock onto ships that should not exist. Fox 1, Jiho said calmly, and fired his missiles. The first carrier exploded. Then the second. Then the third. The human pilots moved like ghosts, appearing and disappearing, striking and vanishing. In 30 minutes, the entire Valorian carrier group was destroyed. G-Ho flew through the wreckage, his heart pounding. He had done it. They had all done it. But he knew this was only a small victory. The Dominion had thousands of ships. This battle was just a scratch. Back on Earth, Dr. Kim Yuna was working on something new. The Ember Array had worked perfectly, but it was a defensive weapon. To win this war, humanity needed to attack. I have found something, she told Hana. The Valorians have a network. All their ships, all their planets, they are connected to a central system, like a spider web. Hana leaned forward. What happens if we break the web? Their entire empire falls apart. Their ships cannot communicate. Their weapons cannot coordinate. They become blind and deaf. Where is the center of this web? Yuna pulled up a star map. She pointed to a distant sun. Here, the Valorian homeworld. If we can reach it, if we can destroy their central network, the war is over. Hana looked at the star map. The Valorian homeworld was far away, protected by thousands of ships. Getting there would cost many lives. But staying here would cost more. Start planning, Hana said. We are going to their home. That night, Hana broadcast a message to the entire galaxy. Every species under Valorian control heard her voice. Every slave world saw her face. People of the galaxy, she said. I am Choi Hana of Earth. For 50 years we watched the Dominion slave your worlds. We saw your suffering. We heard your cries. And we prepared. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Valorians came to Earth expecting easy prey. They found something else. They found a species that does not surrender. A species that does not forget. A species that fights until there is nothing left to fight with. On 100 worlds, slaves looked up at screens and listened. We are coming, Hana continued. We are coming to free you. We are coming to end the Dominion. But we need your help. When the time comes, rise up. Fight back. Show them that the galaxy will no longer live in fear. She leaned close to the camera. Her eyes were hard as steel. To the Valorian Dominion, I had only this to say. For 50 years, we watched you. We learned your weaknesses. We built weapons you cannot understand. You thought you were hunting us, but you woke something old and terrible. You woke a sleeping giant. And now the giant is very, very awake. The message ended. Across the galaxy, something changed. Hope, dead for centuries, began to stir. On the Sejong, Admiral Park Taiho watched the message with his crew. When it ended, the young officer from before spoke up. Sir, the Dominion has 10,000 ships. We have 200. How can we win? Taiho smiled. Do you know what makes humans dangerous? It is not our ships. It is not our weapons. It is that we never know when to quit. The Dominion has never faced an enemy like us. They do not know how to fight something that refuses to die. He looked out at the stars. We will win because we have no other choice. We will win because we are too stubborn to lose. And we will win because they made the biggest mistake in the history of their empire. What mistake? The officer asked. Taiho turned to face him. They made us angry. 8 months had passed since Earth burned. The war had changed. Humanity was no longer defending. Humanity was hunting. Admiral Park Taiho stood on the bridge of the battleship Indomitable, the new flagship of the human fleet. Around him, 50 warships moved in formation toward their next target. A Valorian fortress world called Car Prime. Sir, enemy fleet detected, an officer reported. 200 ships defending the planet. Taiho nodded. 200 ships was 4 times their number. Any other species would retreat. But humans were not any other species. Signal Commander Kang Hyan, Taiho said. Tell him to begin the dance. Kang Hyan was Taiho's second in command. He was young, brilliant, and completely unpredictable. The Valorians had learned to fear his name. He never attacked the same way twice. He never did what the enemy expected. Today was no different. Hyan's squadron appeared from behind the moon, drawing the Valorian fleet away from the planet. When the enemy turned to chase him, Taiho struck from the other side. When they turned back, Hyan appeared again in a different place. The Valorians did not understand. Their tactics were logical and orderly. Human tactics were chaos. Beautiful, deadly chaos. In 3 hours, the enemy fleet was broken. The fortress world was surrounded. And on the surface, millions of slaves looked up at the sky and saw human ships instead of Valorian ones. On the ground, Sergeant Lee Soong led his soldiers through the streets of the main city. The Valorian garrison was fighting hard, but they were losing. Human soldiers were everywhere, moving through buildings, climbing walls, appearing from shadows. Soong kicked open a door and found a group of slaves hiding inside. They were small creatures with blue skin and large eyes. They looked at him with terror. Do not be afraid, Soong said slowly. We are not here to hurt you. We are here to free you. One of the creatures stepped forward. It spoke in broken human language. Free? No one is free from the Dominion. The Dominion is forever. Soong knelt down to look at the creature directly. The Dominion is dying. Look outside. Those are human ships in the sky. We have already freed 20 worlds. Soon, we will free them all. The creature began to cry. Soong did not know if it was joy or fear or both. He had seen this reaction on every world they liberated. These beings had been slaves for so long that they had forgotten what freedom looked like. Far away, Dr. Kim Yuna was working in a secret research station. She had not slept in 3 days. On her screens was something that could end the war forever. I found it, she told Director Hannah through a video call. The Valorian Central Network. It is powered by their home star. The star itself is modified. It sends signals across the galaxy. Hannah looked at her carefully. What are you saying? I am saying that if we disrupt their star, we disrupt everything. Their communications, their weapons, their shields. Everything goes dark. Disrupt a star? Is that even possible? Yuna smiled a tired smile. I did not say it would be easy. But yes, it is possible. Engineer Omira has been working on something. We call it the Stellar Lance. It can create a disruption wave that will spread through their entire network. Hannah was quiet for a long moment. How many people will die? If we use it at full power? Billions. The star will go supernova, and if we use it at low power, the disruption will be temporary. Maybe 60 seconds. But in those 60 seconds, their entire empire will be blind. Every ship, every weapon, every defense system will shut down. Hannah closed her eyes. This was the decision she had feared. Win the war and kill billions, or take a risk and possibly lose everything. Build it, she finally said. Build it for low power. We will not become monsters to defeat monsters. On the front lines, Beat Jiho was flying his ghost through the wreckage of another battle. His squadron had destroyed 3 enemy carriers this week. They had lost 12 pilots. War was never free. Jiho, come in, a voice said in his helmet. It was command. We have a new mission. High priority. What is it? We have located a Valorian communications hub. It contains the coordinates of their homeworld. You need to get inside and steal the data. Jiho laughed. Just me? Against an entire station? You and your squadron. This is not a request, pilot. This is our only chance to find the homeworld. Jiho looked at his fuel gauge. He was tired. His ship was damaged. He had not seen his family in 8 months. But he was a soldier, and soldiers did not get to choose their battles. Understood. Send me the coordinates. The mission was suicide. Everyone knew it. Jiho and 20 pilots attacked the station defended by 200 fighters. They lost half their squadron in the first 5 minutes. But Jiho made it inside. He found the data. He downloaded everything. And then, surrounded by enemy soldiers, he sent the coordinates to the fleet. Jiho, get out of there. Hyan screamed through the radio. Jiho looked at the enemy surrounding him. There were too many. His ship was too damaged to fight. But he had done his job. He had given humanity what it needed. Tell my family I love them, he said quietly. Then he cut the radio. The fleet received the coordinates. The homeworld was found. And somewhere in enemy space, a brave pilot prepared for his last fight. On the Indomitable, Taeho read the mission report. Jiho was captured, not killed. There might still be a chance to save him. Set course for the Valorian homeworld, he ordered. An officer looked at him nervously. Sir, our fleet is not big enough. They have thousands of ships protecting that system. Then we will need to be clever. Taeho looked at the star map. The enemy homeworld glowed red in the distance. Contact every free world. Every ship we have liberated. Every pilot who wants revenge. Tell them it is time. He turned to face his crew. His eyes were burning with cold fire. The hunt is almost over. Soon we will be at their door. And we will show them what happens when you touch Earth. The human fleet gathered at the edge of Valorian space. 500 ships from Earth, 300 from liberated worlds, and 200 more from species who had waited centuries for this moment. 1,000 ships, the largest fleet the galaxy had ever seen united against the Dominion. Admiral Park Taeho looked at the star map. The Valorian homeworld was one jump away. Around it, 4,000 enemy ships waited. The odds were still against them, but they had come too far to turn back now. Admiral, an officer said. Director Hannah is calling. Taeho turned to the screen. Hannah's face appeared. She looked older than when the war began. They all looked older now. The stellar lance is ready, Hannah said. Engineer Omire finished it this morning. It can be deployed on your command. At low power? Yes, 60 seconds of total darkness. Their shields, weapons, communications, everything will fail. But there is a problem. Tejo frowned. What problem? The weapon can be switched to full power at any time. If we do that, their star goes supernova. The entire system is destroyed. Every ship, every station, every person on their homeworld. Billions dead in seconds. The bridge went silent. Everyone understood what this meant. They had the power to end the Valorian species forever. The power to commit genocide. That is not an option, Tejo said firmly. I know, but some people disagree. Hannah's voice was heavy. There are voices saying we should use full power. They say it is the only way to be safe. The only way to make sure the Dominion never returns. Before Tejo could respond, another voice cut in. It was Sergeant Lee Soong, calling from a troop transport nearby. Director, I have seen what the Valorians do to their slaves. I have walked through their camps. I have seen the bodies. Part of me wants to burn their whole world to ash. He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was different, softer. But I have also seen their children. I have seen their families. They are not all soldiers. They are not all monsters. Most of them are just people, following orders, living their lives. If we kill them all, we become worse than they ever were. Tejo nodded slowly. Soong is right. We did not start this war to become monsters. We started it to survive. And we will end it as humans, not as beasts. Dr. Kim Yuna appeared on another screen. There is something else. When we rescued Jiho from that station, he brought back more than coordinates. He found evidence of a Valorian plan. They call it Final Protocol. What is it? Hannah asked. If they lose the war, they will destroy every world they have conquered. Slaves, resources, everything. They would rather burn the galaxy than let it be free. The bridge went completely silent. 400 worlds. Billions of lives. The Valorians were willing to destroy it all. Then we must be fast, Tejo said. We must win before they can activate this protocol. At that moment, a young ensign named Nam Jae stepped forward. He was barely 20 years old, the youngest person on the bridge. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. Sir, may I speak? Tejo looked at him. Go ahead, ensign. I have been thinking about this war since it started. I lost my parents in Tokyo. I lost my sister in the invasion. I have every reason to want revenge. He took a deep breath. But revenge is not justice. If we destroy their homeworld, if we kill billions of innocent people, then my parents and my sister died for nothing. They died for a species that became monsters. Tears were forming in his eyes, but he did not stop. I do not want to live in a galaxy that fears us. I want to live in a galaxy that respects us. And respect is not given to those who commit genocide. It is given to those who show mercy when they have every right to show none. The bridge was silent. Officers looked at each other. Some had tears in their eyes. Others nodded slowly. Tejo walked over to the young ensign and put a hand on his shoulder. You remind me why we fight, ensign. Not for revenge. Not for power. For a future worth living in. He turned to face the fleet commanders on the screens. The decision is made. We use the stellar lance at low power. We disable their defenses, we rescue our captured soldiers, and we force their surrender. We do not destroy their world. We do not kill their civilians. We win this war as humans. Mamria's voice came through the speakers. Admiral, I can modify the weapon further. Instead of a simple disruption, I can make it send a message. Every star in Valorian space will dim at the same time. Every world they control will see the sky go dark. They will know that we could destroy them, but we chose not to. Do it, Tahoe said. Let them see what mercy looks like. The fleet began to move. 1,000 ships jumping into enemy space. The final battle was about to begin. On a prison ship near the Valorian homeworld, Beat Ji-ho sat in a dark cell. He had been tortured for weeks. They wanted information about human tactics, human weapons, human weaknesses. He had told them nothing. A guard came to his cell. The alien looked at him with something like fear. Your people are coming. Our sensors show 1,000 ships. Ji-ho smiled through broken lips. Then you should run. They cannot win. We have 4,000 ships. You still do not understand us, do you? Ji-ho laughed, and it hurt his ribs. You think numbers matter. You think logic matters. But we are not logical. We do not fight because we can win. We fight because we cannot lose. There is a difference. The guard did not respond. He just stared at the human with eyes full of confusion and fear. In the command center of the Indomitable, Tahoe watched the enemy fleet approach. 4,000 ships against 1,000. The math was simple. They were going to lose many people today, but they were also going to win. All ships, he said into the fleet-wide channel. This is Admiral Park, Tahoe. In a few minutes, we will enter the most important battle in human history. Many of us will not survive, but those who do will tell their children and their children's children about this day. He paused, letting his words sink in. We fight today not for revenge, but for the future. Not for destruction, but for freedom. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity is not a species to be feared. We are a species to be respected. Today, we win the war and keep our souls. He raised his hand. All ships, advance. For Earth, for humanity, for the stars. The fleet jumped into battle. The battle for the Valorian homeworld was the largest in galactic history. 1,000 human and allied ships against 4,000 Dominion warships. The space around the planet burned with weapons fire. Ships exploded like dying stars. Debris filled the void. Admiral Park Tahoe stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, calm as stone while chaos erupted around him. His ship shook with every impact. Alarms screamed. Officers shouted reports. But Tahoe's eyes never left the enemy flagship. Sir, we have lost 200 ships, an officer reported. The enemy is pushing us back. Hold the line, Tahoe said. Just a little longer. Far behind the battle, Dr. Kim Yuna was aboard a small science vessel. Her hands moved across controls, making final adjustments to the stellar lance. The weapon was ready. It floated in space like a silver needle, pointed at the Valorian sun. Yuna, status report, Director Hana called from Earth. Ready to fire. Waiting for the Admiral's order. On the battlefield, Commander Kang Hyan led a desperate attack on the enemy flank. His squadron was down to 12 ships. They were surrounded. They were dying. But they were also winning. Hyan, pull back, Tahoe ordered. Negative, sir. If we pull back, they will surround the fleet. We hold here. Hyan's ship took a direct hit. Flames filled the cockpit. He could feel the heat burning his skin. But he kept firing. He kept fighting. He was human, and humans did not stop. On the prison ship, Beat Ji-ho heard the battle outside. The guards had fled. The prisoners were alone. He looked around at the other captured soldiers, humans and aliens alike. Can anyone move? He asked. A woman raised her hand. She was bleeding but alive. I can move. Then we fight our way out. Our people are here. We just need to reach them. They broke out of their cells using a stolen keycard. They fought through corridors with weapons taken from fallen guards. Jiho led them toward the hangar, toward freedom, toward home. In the command center of the Valorian flagship, High Commander Veth watched the battle with growing horror. The humans were losing ships, but they were not retreating. They kept coming, wave after wave, sacrificing themselves to push deeper into the fleet. "This is madness," Veth whispered. "Why do they not run?" An advisor approached him. "High Commander, our shields are failing. The humans have found some way to weaken them. If this continues, we will lose." Veth made a decision. "Activate final protocol. If we cannot win, then no one will." The order went out. On 400 conquered worlds, Valorian soldiers prepared to destroy everything. Slaves, resources, all of it would burn. But the order never reached its destination. On Uniship, alarms blared. "We have detected a transmission. It is final protocol. They are going to destroy the slave worlds." Una did not hesitate. "Admiral, I am firing the lance now." She pressed the button. The stellar lance activated. A beam of pure energy struck the Valorian sun. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the star flickered. Then it dimmed. Then every star in Valorian space dimmed with it. Across 400 worlds, the sky went dark. On the homeworld, billions looked up in terror. The sun was dying. The stars were gone. Only darkness remained. On every Valorian ship, shields failed. Weapons stopped working. Engines went silent. Communications died. The greatest military fleet in the galaxy became 4,000 helpless metal boxes floating in space. "All ships, this is Admiral Taiho. Advance and secure the enemy fleet. Do not destroy them. Capture them." The human fleet moved forward. Ship after ship, they locked onto Valorian vessels, disabled their remaining systems, and took their crews prisoner. It was not a battle anymore. It was a harvest. Jiho reached the hangar just as a human rescue shuttle landed. Soldiers poured out, weapons ready. When they saw Jiho, they stopped. "Pilot Beak?" One of them asked. Jiho smiled through cracked lips. "I told them you would come." The darkness lasted exactly 60 seconds. When light returned, the war was over. Human ships floated above every major Valorian world. The Dominion fleet was captured. High Commander Veth was in chains. And across the galaxy, billions of slaves looked up at skies that were no longer dark. Admiral Taiho broadcast a message to the Valorian homeworld. His voice was calm and cold. "People of the Dominion, your fleet is destroyed. Your leaders are captured. Your final protocol has failed. You are defeated." He paused, letting the words sink in. "We could have destroyed your son. We could have killed billions of your people. We had the power to end your species forever. But we chose mercy. Remember that. Remember that when you had the power, you chose cruelty. And when we had the power, we chose to let you live." On Earth, Director Hana broadcast a different message. This one went to the entire galaxy. "People of the free worlds, the Valorian Dominion has fallen. 400 worlds are now free. But let this be a warning to any who would threaten peace. Humanity has placed devices near every star in this galaxy. We call it the Long Night Protocol. If any species ever threatens our worlds again, the stars will go dark. And this time, they may not come back on." The galaxy listened. The galaxy understood. Humanity was not a species to be conquered. Humanity was a species to be respected. Months later, Admiral Taiho stood on the observation deck of the Indomitable. The ship was orbiting Earth, finally home after years of war. Beside him stood Dr. Kim Yuna. She looked tired but peaceful. "Do you think they will forgive us?" she asked. "The Valorians. The galaxy. Do you think they will ever see us as anything other than the species that darkened the stars? Tejo thought about the question. He thought about the friends he had lost, the cities that had burned, the choices he had made. No, he said finally. They will never forgive us. They will never forget what we did. But that is not the point. Then what is? The point is that they will never touch Earth again. The point is that billions of slaves are now free. The point is that our children will grow up in a galaxy that knows better than to threaten humanity. He looked out at the stars. They were bright tonight. Bright and beautiful and safe. We did not fight this war to be loved, Yuna. We fought it to survive. And we won. Not by becoming monsters, but by being human. That is enough. That has to be enough. Yuna nodded slowly. What do we do now? Tejo smiled. It was his first real smile in years. Now we rebuild. We heal. We remember the dead and celebrate the living. And we make sure that no one ever forgets the lesson we taught the galaxy. What lesson? Tejo turned to face her. His eyes were soft now, no longer filled with fire and war. That you should never, ever touch Earth. Far away, on 100 worlds, species that had once been slaves told stories to their children. Stories about a small blue planet that stood against the darkness. About a species that refused to surrender. About the day the stars went dark and everything changed. They called humanity by many names now. The Star Darkeners. The Sleeping Giants. The Stubborn Ones. But the name that stuck, the name that echoed through the galaxy for generations, was simple. Those who would not break. And whenever anyone asked why the galaxy was at peace, the answer was always the same dot, because humanity was watching. And the stars remembered.